Who will start for the U.S. men's national team this Saturday against Bosnia? Hi, if you're new here, I'm Filippo, and welcome to Untitled TV, and welcome to another episode here in the channel. Today, we're going to talk about the friendly we have against Bosnia over the weekend, and we're going to try to predict who Gregg Berhalter will start. Along with that, after we try to predict what he will do, I'll tell you what I would do if I was the U.S. men's national team coach, which obviously I'm not. Otherwise, why would I be here on YouTube talking about it? Now, listen, if you kindly could right now, hit the like button. Actually, not kindly. This is a dictatorship right now. Hit that like button right now. And comment down below, who do you think Gregg will start over the weekend? Or comment down below who you want to start, or both, whatever you like. This is what we're going to do in this video. All right, so let's play the intro and let's start the episode. Okay, so before we dive into what I think Gregg will do, let's skim through the entire roster just to freshen our memories of all the names that made it to this December camp. There's a lot of veterans and there's a lot of young guys. And before we start, don't forget one thing. We will be doing a live watch along here in the channel, a pre-game, a post-match. So make sure you tune in for that over the weekend on Saturday. So let's skim through the roster real quick and then we'll start with Gregg's lineup. So for this camp, Gregg Berhalter brought 26 players. For the goalkeeping position, he brought 3 goalkeepers. John Postcamp will be one of them, a young goalkeeper from Sporting Kansas City. The other goalkeeper that he brought in is another very young goalkeeper, 17-year-old Gabriel Slonina from the Chicago Fire. And then we have veteran Matt Turner from New England Revolution that is probably going to start for this game. I'm already giving you a spoiler ahead of time. And Matt Turner is right now fighting for the starting job in the U.S. men's national team senior squad with Zach Steffen. Okay, so now we're going to go through the defenders list. So the defenders that Gregg Berhalter brought were George Bello from Atlanta United, a left back, Justin Che from FC Dallas, which can play as a right back, can play as a center back as well, Jonathan Gomez from Louisville City, or Lou City, which actually now he's a Real Sociedad player, the left back, a Mexican-American, which we had an interview with him here at the channel, Kobe Henry from Orange County SC at USL, the USL champions actually, by the way, Henry Kessler from New England Revolution, the center back, Brooks Lennon from Atlanta United, Aaron Long, that's returning from injury, a terrible Achilles injury. I don't know if Aaron Long will actually be available to play or he's just training with the squad. Kevin Paredes from DC United that can play as a left back, left winger, and left midfielder. Brian Reynolds that's having a hard time at Roma, so was definitely released and will probably get a loan over the winter in January. Austin Trusty from the Colorado Rapids, and then Walker Zimmerman from Nashville, which is fighting for that starting job at our main squad. For the midfield, Gregg did not bring many players. There's only 5 midfielders, but there's a couple forwards that could play as midfielders. So for the midfielders listed, he had Kel Acosta from the Colorado Rapids, Cole Bassett from the Colorado Rapids as well, Johnny Cardoso from Internacional in Brazil that can play as a 6 and an 8, Christian Roldan from the Seattle Sounders that normally plays as a right winger for Gregg, but he's listed as a midfielder, and Jackson Yule from the San Jose Earthquakes. So for the forwards, Gregg brought 7 forwards total, and a few of them can play in the midfield. I'll talk about that right now. So Taylor Booth is the first one I want to talk about from Bayern Munich. He can play in the midfield if needed, but apparently Gregg listed him as a forward, might play as a winger. Caden Clark from the New York Red Bulls or RB Leipzig or wherever he goes, maybe he'll go on alone. He can play in the midfield or he can play at the wing as well, or maybe even as a false 9 for this camp. Kate Cowell from the San Jose Earthquakes can play as a winger or as a center forward, or as he said here in the channel, he insinuated that he might become a right back. He actually said that in the interview. The other name we have here in the list is Jesus Ferreira, and he can play at the wing. He can play as a false 9 as well from FC Dallas, one of the young prospects. The other one is Jordan Morris from the Seattle Sounders. He's back. He got a couple games in for Seattle Sounders at the end of the season. He's still coming back from that ACL injury. He'll probably get minutes, but we don't know how Jordan Morris will be for this game. Ricardo Pepe from FC Dallas, our current best 9, or at least our starting 9 in the U.S. men's national team. And then one of Gregg's favorites, Jassy Zardes from the Columbus Crew. Okay, now we're going to go try to guess what Gregg's starting 11 will look like, and obviously we're going to have to make a lot of guesses and assumptions for that. So the odds of being wrong are pretty damn high. Okay, so Gregg Berhalter's starting 11 will likely be on a 4-3-3 formation, okay? And I'm going to give you the goalkeeper right away because that one to me is unanimous. I think he's going to start Matt Turner. Keep Matt Turner sharp. I know the young guys are there and they could maybe give them some experience, but I think they're more to train and just be around camp. Matt Turner will likely be Gregg's starter. The two fullbacks I believe Gregg will go with. One is Brian Reynolds. He needs to get minutes and show off to get a loan for Roma. And also he traveled all the way from Europe to this one, so he'll probably start Brian Reynolds. The left back will be George Bello, which I think is the one that he rates the highest here. Not the one I would start for this match in particular, but I think George Bello will be the starting left back for this game. That doesn't mean Jonathan Gomez won't get minutes. That's just I think how Gregg will go with the starting 11. Now the two center backs that I think he's going to go, I'm going to make an assumption here. I'm going to assume that Aaron Long is not ready to play. I'm not so sure about that. I think he might not be. He might be. But I'm going to assume that. With that said, I think Gregg will go with Henry Kessler, which Gregg does rate. Remember, he brought him in Gold Cup once Zimmerman was injured. And Walker Zimmerman to keep him informed since Miles Robinson is not there as well. Maybe we'll see Justin Che throughout the match, but I think Gregg's going to go with those two center backs. Now, the midfield, we're going to have a holding midfielder and 2 8s. So a 6 and 2 8s. I think the 6 will be actually Jackson Yueill. Yeah, I think he'll start. Gregg wants to have that regista role, and he might still think Jackson Yueill can be that guy, and this could be a chance for him since it's a weakened Bosnia team. Let's hope not, but I would hope it would be Johnny Cardoso. I'll talk about that soon, but I think Jackson Yueill will start there. Now, the dual 8s, in my opinion, will be Kel Acosta, which Gregg has played Acosta as an 8. He even said he sees Acosta as an 8, even though he's the backup 6 to Adams. And the other one I think he's going to start is Cole Bassett. I don't think he's going to start Roldan there because he doesn't really put Roldan as a central midfielder, and he has said that Roldan is his super sub. So Cole Bassett might actually start. Now the forwards for Gregg, I think he's going to go with Caden Clark at the right wing because he did list Caden Clark as a forward. Jordan Morris on the left wing because it is one of his favorites and he's probably going to want to give Morris at least 45 minutes to a bare minimum. And the center forward, I think he's going to go with actually Ricardo Pepe. I think he will. He could go with Zardes, but I think he's going to go with Pepe because Pepe still is his starter. Until anything else happens, I think that's how it's going to go. So just to recap, Gregg's starting 11, 4-3-3 formation with Matt Turner on goal, Brian Reynolds on the right back, George Bello on the left back. The two center backs will be Henry Kessler and Walker Zimmerman, assuming Aaron Long is not healthy or available to play. The midfield will be Jackson Yueill at the 6, Acosta and Cole Bassett on the 8s. The wingers will be Caden Clark on the right and Jordan Morris on the left. And Jesse Zardes or Ricardo Pepe up top, but I'm going to go with Ricardo Pepe for this one. But again, this is just me speculating a lot. It could be a lot wrong. Comment yours down below so we can see what you think, and don't forget to hit that like button because I told you so. All right, now we're going to go to my starting 11, what I would want to do, and that might be the most interesting part of the video because Gregg is just me guessing. So let's start with my lineup. All right, now time to do my starting 11, and I would personally go with a 4-2-3-1. So essentially a formation with dual pivot 6s and a 10 ahead of him, an attacking midfielder, a creator, a creative player, which I'll tell you who it is. You probably can guess it. But right away from the start, my goalkeeper would be Matt Turner. I know a lot of us could be inclined to give Gaga Slonina some minutes. I don't think it's necessary in this. It's just important to bring him into camp. It's better to keep Matt Turner sharp and getting minutes in games because you never know. If Zach Steffen is injured or not looking good, we need a reliable backup goalkeeper, and that's Matt Turner. Now, for the right back position, I would do the exact same as Gregg Berhalter. Well, on my prediction of what Berhalter will do, I would put Brian Reynolds. He needs to get some exposure to maybe get a loan from Roma, and I mean, he traveled all the way to Europe for this game, so Brian Reynolds will be my starting right back. Now, my left back, I would actually go with Jonathan Gomez right here. It could be very important to give him some minutes. He's a dual national. We do need a beat 03 and get Jonathan Gomez. He's highly talented. Heading to Real Sociedad, he would be my left back. Now, the center backs, I would put one young prospect, which is Justin Che, and Walker Zimmerman, an experienced one. So I think they can combine well. I want to see how Justin Che does as a center back, even though FC Dallas constantly plays him as a right back. Bayern Munich did play him at Bayern 2 as a center back. So now my 6s, my dual pivot 6s would be Kel Acosta and Johnny Cardoso. And the way I would want them to operate here, oversimplifying it obviously, would be Kel Acosta being the ball-winning midfielder and Johnny Cardoso being the ball-playing midfielder, help on the build-up, help progress the ball forward. A more technical midfielder and a midfielder that can do the dirty work, which was what Acosta is really good at, and he's the backup 6 for that reason. By backup 6, I mean Tyler Adams is backup 6 for now. Now, my attacking midfielder, or my 10, my creative player, would be Caden Clark. Yes, I would put Caden Clark as the 10 for this team. And then on the wings, I would put Kevin Paredes at the left wing, which I know he can play there. We've seen sometimes with DC United, even though he's listed as a defender. Very technical player, very good on the final third. And Cade Cowell, a very pacey winger that can whip in some dangerous crosses for our center forward, Ricardo Pepe. I would start Ricardo Pepe. We need to keep Pepe sharp. We don't know if he's going to Europe or not, but he has to be sharp for the January-February camp where we're going to play Canada. So just to recap my starting 11, we will go with a 4-2-3-1 formation with Matt Turner on goal, Brian Reynolds as the right back, Jonathan Gomez as the left back, Justin Che and Walker Zimmerman as the 2 center backs, Johnny Cardoso and Kellen Acosta as the dual 6s, Caden Clark as the 10, Cade Cowell on the right wing, Kevin Paredes on the left wing, and Ricardo Pepe up top. Alright everyone, originally when we recorded this, I had Kevin Paredes on my starting 11, but it was just announced after we recorded that he unfortunately got injured. We're wishing him a speedy recovery. Apparently it's not something major. He'll be fine, but he's out of this game specifically and back in DC for recovery. So therefore, as you saw in the picture, the fixed picture, I replaced him with Jordan Morris on my lineup. Alright everyone, that does it for this episode. I told you what I think Gregg will do. I told you what I would do. But now I want to know, what would you do? Tell me what you would do. What would be your starting 11? What do you think Coach Lex Luthor will do? Before you go, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Yes, that's something I always forget to request. And it's actually more important than subscribing. Now look, we will be doing the live watch along on Saturday, so don't miss out on that. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.